Welcome to the Future of Feminism in Florida and Beyond panel. I'm Luna Plaza. I'm a recent first-generation graduate of the University of Miami. Yes, class of 2026. I'm an aspiring social worker, abortion doula. I'm a restorative justice circle keeper and a youth organizer based in Miami, Florida. I am the moderator for today's panel. This conversation comes at a time when feminist movements are being tested on our streets, in our legislatures, and in the public square. Thank you all for being here. We're living through a moment of escalating attacks on our rights, our communities, and our democratic freedoms. Yet even in the face of those challenges, we're seeing incredible organizing, creativity, and resistance. That makes today's conversation especially important. Together, not just by responding to attacks, but by creating the collective power and solidarity needed to shape the future we want to see. Our panelists each bring unique experiences in organizing, advocacy, communications, direct service, and movement building. I'm excited to hear their perspectives on the challenges ahead, the opportunities before us, and what it will take to build a stronger, more intersectional feminist movement. With that, let's begin. Panelists, please introduce yourselves, starting with Kim Villanueva.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim, thank you. I'm Kim Villanueva. I'm the president of the National Organization for Women, and I'm so thrilled, yay! So thrilled to be in Florida. It's so nice and hot and humid. It makes me think of home in the Midwest where it's hot and humid. So I'm just interested to hear the discussion, to interact with the panelists, and hopefully we can all share and learn from each other.
Hello, everybody. My name is Miss May. I use they, them pronouns, and I am the co-founder and executive director of Decrim 305, servicing the community in more ways than one. We are a sex worker-led organization based out of Miami, Florida, and we are, our goal is to decriminalize sex work in Miami-Dade and beyond. And we also provide mutual aid and other services, other free resources to sex workers. And I'm excited to be here and have this conversation. Thank you for having me.
That's my friend, y'all. We've served together in different places. Good afternoon. I am Cortés Marià Lewis James. I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a doula. I am an advocate. I am a servant at heart. So I am so excited to be here with you all to share how we're going to kick ass. Okay, that we are not going to sit still, that we're going to get involved, even if it's letter writing. There's work to do, and that's what I'm here to do.
Hi everyone, my name is Jamie. I use she, they pronouns, and I work with Florida Access Network. We are a statewide reproductive justice organization and an abortion fund. We service folks across the state, making sure that they have access to abortion. And I'm excited to be here to ruffle some feathers, make folks a little uncomfortable, make you think about things a little bit deeper. I'm excited to get into it.
Thank you all for being here. Let's begin with our first question. As we know, feminism has taken many forms across generations. What do you think this current moment is asking of feminists that may be different from previous eras?
You know, it's such a good question. And as I was talking to some people, I heard that some people, your parents were now members. How many people have had parents or grandparents who are now members? How many people who have children who are now members? How many people have grandchildren that are now members? Almost, we're getting there. But I think that shows the generational transfer of feminism from generation to generation, which we are responsible for. in terms of what we need to bring, I think we need to keep our eyes and ears open, be willing to listen to everyone, even if we disagree with them, be respectful that we need to listen. Because I would want someone to listen to me when I explain my views. So, keeping it simple.
Yeah, I think at this moment, for me, I've been in the sex work industry for 15 years now. And I think that when feminism was on the rise, I think that like the things that women were fighting for were very different, right? We were asking for like basic things. And at this moment, we're experiencing some of the most puritanical rhetoric, right? We have a lot of introduction of age verification laws under the guise of protecting children when it's actually to invade your data and your privacy, right? And there's a lot being done under this guise when these are actually systemic institutional things that need to be grappled in order to actually protect women and children, right? And I think like for me, a lot of times as a sex worker, and sex workers are approached via exit services, like we don't want you to be in the sex work industry, but we're not going to provide you exit services, and we're going to further criminalize your industry on every level, via prostitution, via legal and compliant forms of sex work like pornography, like OnlyFans, by introducing legislation like age verification laws and things of that nature in order to make your job even more harder. And so I think as feminists, we need to ask ourselves, you know, if we want women to, and other people, right? Because feminism isn't just about women, it's about everybody having equal rights and everybody having access to their needs, right? So I think if we want to ask ourselves, like, if we truly want equality and change, then we need to ask ourselves, like, what are people's actual needs, and how can we support them, instead of attacking like from a morality standpoint. And I think that's what we're facing today, is a lot of things are coming from a morality standpoint, even from feminists. And we need to actually attack the systemic and institutionalized issues that are affecting real women today who are being criminalized and affected.
Thank you so much. So when I think about feminism, I have to put Black before it. And the reason why I have to do that is because when I walk in the room, you see Black first. You don't really know what's happening with my autonomy, with my anatomy, but you know I'm Black. And so when we think about feminism from my lens of being a Black woman, we have to think about the intersectionality of the oppression. And that started with Kimberly Crenshaw. And we're talking about the race and the gender. We're talking about class. We're talking about all the things. And so here we sit in 2026. And I guess the cases were 2024, where Black women are being forced to have C-sections. That literally lawyers are entering birthing women's rooms, right, in labor and delivery and having court hearings. So this is where we are today. And this is an atrocity. And if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone in this room, any birthing person. It could be your mother, your aunt, your sister, daughter-in-law. And so we have to make a conscious decision that if it's hurting Black women, it's hurting everyone. And I'm so happy to be in this space because I think right now, and maybe 2 of us in the room, and so maybe 3. I know it's not 5, okay? We need you. We need your fight. We need your stand up. And I know it's a challenge. And you want to know why it's a challenge? It's a challenge because your father is white. Your brother is white. Your cousin is white. I get it. But we need you all today like we have never needed white women before. We don't want to do this alone. Because black women show up everywhere for everyone. Have always historically. So in the lens of feminism today, I need you. My mother needs you. My sister needs you. My aunt needs you. And so we have to deal with the uncomfortability of the reality today. Racism is on an all-time high. And we're suffering. We all have a birth story, but imagine if they brought this laptop in your room and said, court is in order. I really want you to sit with that. And so that's where we are. For me, we've gone backwards. Gone backwards. And so that's gonna be my challenge for everyone in this room. We gotta look at right now, what's happening and why it's happening. It's happening because we're letting it happen. And our activism has to come to an entirely different level. As soon as that story hit the news, I would have loved to see every white woman, because it's happened in 2 places, Jacksonville and Tallahassee, get to that hospital. Do a chain around the room, sit at the nurse's station, do all the things, because guess what? The police not coming for y'all, but they coming for us. And so we have to think about what can we do today? Tomorrow is gone. We don't know what's coming tomorrow, but today.
How am I supposed to follow up to that? That was incredible. Thank you so much. For me, what I'm thinking of is how the moment is asking for more, so similar to what you're saying. We really need to be bold and out loud about the values that we have, the beliefs that we have. And when I was thinking about my answer for this, like I realized that like it's more than abortion rights. It's more than breaking the glass ceiling. It's like truly fighting for equality and empowerment for those who are most affected by the laws and restrictions that hurt our pockets, our values, and even accessing safety. Something that came to mind for me was like, I work at an abortion fund, and for the longest time, has been and is still used to, there's still pro-choice language, right? And at FAN, we don't use pro-choice language. We say that we are boldly, out loud pro-abortion. And I understand how that can feel a little weird when you're thinking about it, but pro-choice is being opted by the opposition into a term that is straying very far away from what we know it to be. And when we say that we're pro-abortion, we're like reclaiming that word. We are being unabashedly for abortion access, and the difference does matter. It combats like a stigma around abortion, and it puts our issue at the forefront of what we're fighting for. And it's also just being like super out loud and letting folks know that you believe in access to abortion. And yeah, we need to boldly stand for the values that we have, and that's what the folks of this generation are doing. They aren't toting the line. They are very out loud and ready to fight against injustice, and the new generation should be heard. The things that we're fighting for may be for us, but it's truly for them, for the young folk who are coming into this world, who are growing up. We want to build a future where they can succeed. And something I really want folks to take away from my answer is that we can hold what used to exist when we think about past tactics for organizing and continue to build on those tactics. But we have a new generation trying out some really badass things, and they're pushing boundaries, and we cannot try to silence those folks doing that work. I say us older folks because I do feel like my back is way higher than my age. So us older folks really need to listen and reflect and grow, and we're no better than the right if we cement ourselves in beliefs that have shifted and need all of our support in it.
Period. To build a more equitable movement, it isn't simply about who is invited to the room. It's also about who has power once they're there. Whether the issue is racism, transphobia, ableism, classism, ageism, anti-sex worker bias, or other forms of exclusion, many people have experienced harm even within feminist organizing. Panelists, what does accountability look like when our own movements fall short? And how do we create feminist spaces that people actually want to stay in? Kim, if you can begin.
Less meetings. You laugh, but that's something that we hear constantly from younger feminists. I don't want to sit through a business meeting. I don't want to have to do that work, but yet someone has to do the work. So we need to acknowledge that there are maybe ways that people who want to enter our spaces can still contribute, but maybe not sit and work on bylaws. I also want to acknowledge, we know unfortunately that blatant racism is now public policy. Blatant sexism is now public policy, and so we have to fight back against that and find ways to do that, whether it's through social media, which is what younger feminists are so fantastic at. And maybe that's one way that they can contribute. And I think another thing is just we need to be welcoming to people who want to be part of our experience. They may not know what our language is. We may have to explain what acronyms are that we use, but we need to be welcoming, and we need to meet people where they are. For instance, during COVID, my local Now chapter reached out to Delta Sigma Theta, a Black sorority, and said, hey, let's do a book club. We don't have to do any political work, but we'll just learn about each other and learn perspectives over books. And so we've built a relationship in that way that has grown into get out the vote work, voter registration, and that's included reaching out to other groups like the League of Women Voters. And so that's just different ways to reach out and hopefully include other communities in our work without them feeling like they are taking on the burden of our work, but also being included in the work.
Yeah, some claps. Come on, give Kim some love. She's out here working hard, going to all these meetings that we don't want to go to. She didn't want to go to them either. Exactly. I think for me, and I hope I don't, I hope nobody gets upset here, but let's all get comfortable here, I think for me, as an Asian sex worker, right, I have a very specific experience. I think I walk through this world, experiencing racism in a certain way where a lot of times people try to dismiss the kind of racism that I feel. They have certain stereotypes about Asian people. And a lot of times people like to wear our culture like a costume, and everything like that. It's so cute to be Asian, But Asian sex workers experience such a heightened criminality and targeting by police. And especially now with ICE out there, and more specifically in the state of Florida. I'm a Floridian, I'm from Miami, I'm a ride or die Floridian. I won't have any anti-Florida talk here, not on my watch. And I am seeing so many stings from the police who are deputized as ICE agents, right? Because of the 287G agreement. That are targeting massage parlors. And so I think like what I want to see is, we're talking about not just, having a seat at the table. I want to see us, not sex workers specifically, and sex workers of color, right? I want us to have not just a seat at the table, but I want our experiences to not only be taken seriously, but for feminists and other people who use us as tokens in their actions to actually move our issues forward with them. Because so often what happens is we are tokenized in movements because they need a sex worker to be a part of their grant or their community action board, what have you. But the violence and criminality that we're facing is very real. We are being targeted and jailed by ICE, and no one is paying attention. In Polk County, Sheriff Grady Judd, pardon my language, has a hard-on for arresting people like me and framing it as human trafficking while doing absolutely nothing to stop actual traffickers. And that should piss you off because he's using our tax dollars. Your hard-earned money is going towards stopping consensual workers like me who are just trying to get by and feed their kids and keep the lights on, and instead there's bad actors out there who are hurting women and children who should be in jail. And what are we doing? We're not doing anything. So your legislators, the police, ICE, they're not doing anything. And they're patting themselves on the back for these things. Meanwhile, we're organizing under workers' rights, labor rights, and all of these other movements, Black Lives Matter, environmental rights, and all of these things that intersect. So just like Cortés was saying, all of these intersectional issues, and we are not including sex workers in these issues, and we are using them as tokens, and we're throwing them away the same way that we're doing it to Black people, Asian people, migrants, and other people of color. And so I would like to see us not just be included and used as tokens, but actually put our issues forward. There are 10 Black people that have been lynched this year, and I don't see enough people, specifically white people, in the streets rioting over this shit.
Child, I forgot about the lynchings because I'm so worried about the womb. So I serve at Southern Birth Justice Network. We are located in Miami, Florida, but we have a global reach. And we have a mobile midwife clinic that is a bus that goes into the neighborhoods. And we prenatal, birthing, postpartum care. We now even do well visits. And so this work is so passionate because I believe in the womb to the tomb, and I serve as the director of outreach and advocacy. And what May is talking about is the realest thing that you can ever hear. Why aren't the streets spilling out with folk, right? Black women are being lynched. I don't know if you all are aware of that, but I'm telling you now. Black women are being lynched, Black boys are being drowned, Black women are in hospitals being told that they don't know their bodies and that we as a judicial system have a right to tell you what we want you to do and how we want you to do it. I should actually be in the middle of this floor spinning around, screaming and kicking. But there's something deep down inside of me that keeps me able to just hold a mic and talk about it. Because after hearing me today, I'm gonna haunt you. You're gonna hear my voice from here on out. And for those folks in the room that have heard my voice before, do you still hear it? May, do you still hear my voice? Do you still hear my voice? We've been on a, because I'm not gonna let it not. I need for you to understand that when you trust Black women, all of this stuff will change. If you let us lead, all of this stuff will change. If you get out of our way and support us laterally, all of this stuff will change. But that takes the pulling down of so many things that have been indoctrinated. Y'all realize that Black women are great, have been great, and we're gonna always be great, so you don't have to fight that. That is a fact, period, and point blank. So it shouldn't be a struggle in that at all whatsoever. But the fact that we are women, we have to rid the divide. Period. I'm married to an island man. There are certain ways that Caribbean folk think because of what media and marketing has sold them, right? Just like you're married to a white man. And there are things that you have just, you were raised in it, you were parented in it, you were told. So it does take work to dismantle. I have to tell my husband all the time, boy, that's a lie, that's not true. Who told you that? Right? But he's a grown man that heard this all his life. Then he came to America and was like, wait a minute. This really isn't true. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. He was told that Black people are lazy, that they don't do nothing, that they just sit, you know, arrest, have babies, go to prison, deadbeat dads, all the things, right? So he gets here, he marries a woman that's in advocacy. So we in DC, we in Tallahassee, we all over the country as he's watching me do my work. And we came home one day and he said, babe, they lied to us. I said, who? Who did it? And he was like, Black people are not the problem. It's the system that's the problem. And I was like, wow. Now go share that with all your people, right? Y'all wrong. Don't come over here and judge us. Don't come over here and cause us more harm and more hurt and more pain because somebody lied to you. And so I challenge us in this room. The people been lying to y'all all your life. And it's unfortunate. And then you get in situations in a room with a person like me and you like, I am so uncomfortable. Please, you can hug me afterwards. I do hug people, I promise. But I have to get you to understand we got to dismantle this stuff in order to move forward. We not the enemy, y'all. My skin color, I ain't had no choice. Period. And in the 6th grade, I tried to bleach myself. It didn't work. So these are the challenges that we have. Because if the world is saying that white is right, then anybody with some sense want to be on the right side, right? So guess what? We got to do the work. And then what I love about May and her work and what she does, and I'm passing the mic, I'm gonna challenge y'all with this. Everybody in this room was born, correct? You know, it wasn't a petri dish, it wasn't just pulled out of the air, right? So you know somebody had to have sex for that to happen. Yes, yes. And then there's some of us in the room that have been able to birth ourselves, correct? We had to have sex to do that. And so I need for everybody to stop the sex issue, because there wouldn't be humanity if there was no sex. Okay? And then I'm a little old school. I look young, but I'm a little old school. Sometimes you gotta put a price tag on things. Period. Why are you struggling and you're having sex? Why your bills not paid and you having sex? We have to even take autonomy for that as women. That we're allowing a man or another woman to have intimate space with us, and they don't even care about us in our human space. That we allow folk to abuse us in the name of love that has to do with my breasts, my vagina, and my butt. So I'm old school. You gonna pay me for what you want. Marriage is the payment, it's the contract that you sign. And so we have to come out of the judgmental space. We don't know what people go through in life. We don't know why people do half the things that we do, because we don't know why we do it. And so instead of judging and looking and shunning, it's really time to have a conversation if you really want to know. But just look in the mirror and ask yourself, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Because there's a reason behind it. And there's enough wisdom in this room that we can change the trajectory of all of this foolishness. Because that's just what it is. It is foolishness, and life is fleeting. How do I know? My uncle just died. That's why I was back and forth. Just got the call. Okay? This is life. It's gonna end, y'all. So we have to do better at the journey, at the dash. Ooh, y'all looking at me like, if she don't let that mic go. But I do want to challenge you. And I do want you to leave hearing my voice. And I do want you to leave knowing that you are a part of this. And you are needed in ways that we have never needed each other before. It's humanity over everything now, guys. It is humanity over everything.
Damn, can I switch seats?
No, she got to stay. She consoled me when I walked up here.
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind for me was we need to do better at our interpersonal skills, particularly with accountability. I feel like a lot of us tend to struggle with it, and we either avoid things, or we over-explain the harm that we've caused, or we try to repair things in a way that when another person doesn't even want repair. So for me, accountability looks like listening to folks who have been harmed in our movement, by the world. It looks like apologizing and stepping back and reflecting on the harm that you've caused, rather than continuing to put your face in front of the person that you have harmed. particularly as a white person, this looks like leaning on my white comrades when I've caused harm, rather than leaning on a person of color to be like, please explain to me why I did wrong. Please teach me. Please let me know. That is so much labor on people of color that we do not need to put on them. It is on us to learn about our harm, learn about how to show up better in the future. It's doing your own research. It's asking the person like, hey, is there a way for me to repair this harm? And if they say no, that's fine, because I hurt them. I shouldn't expect them to immediately forgive me. I need to do better in the future. And maybe at some point it can be repaired, but likely maybe it won't. We need to learn how to apologize to folks. It's not about guilting someone into making them forgive you. It's not about over-explaining. It's not about going to other people and gossiping and being like, oh, I did this thing. Do you think I was right or wrong? Because that's not going to get us anywhere. We really need to get over ourselves and realize that the community also encompasses everything. It's outside of accountability. It's really inviting folks into this space, into feminism, into the movement that encompass all identities. Black people, indigenous people, people of color. We're talking about trans folks, non-binary folks. We're talking about trans women, trans men. We're talking about every person that is harmed under the system that currently exists, and that is not leaving anyone out, period.
I wanted to piggyback off of something Cortés said, because you were really, girl, I don't know if anybody saw me, I was like, ooh, she's singing my song. Because you were really spitting some facts. Because how many of us grew up lower income? So how many times, or how many of us went through mom was freaking out because she wasn't gonna get Christmas presents. She was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do because I don't know if I'm gonna have Christmas presents, But then all of a sudden, she went down the block to see Richard, and then she turned up with Christmas presents. Did that happen? Did that happen to you? Did that happen to you? Because I feel like some of us went through that, and maybe that will offer a little bit of relation, a little bit of perspective to what sex work can look like for people that maybe we wouldn't call it sex work. Because that's what Cortés was basically saying, right? It's think outside the box a little bit. You might have had to do a little something to get a little something. Do you know what I mean? And maybe you didn't call it sex work, but you exchanged some goods to get something, And so I think there's a lot of solidarity that we can find amongst each other as sex workers, as women, as feminists, if we start to break things down in that way. Because the thing is, it's 2026, we still don't get paid the same as men. We still don't get paid the same as men. We're still getting paid less on the dollar. Isn't that crazy? So, yeah, I have had to make some particular decisions about what I'm gonna do to get some things because I still don't have equity on the dollar. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta think about what sex workers have had to do to finesse and what you've had to do to finesse. There's a lot of solidarity that we can find amongst each other because women have had to be very creative and we've had to finesse. Men haven't had to do that shit. Men haven't had to do that shit. And so the solidarity is within this room. And the cis men, sorry men, because I know there's 2 men in here. Y'all get everything. Y'all have had everything. So, I'm just saying, Cortés was spitting some game, and I wanted to just offer that perspective.
For our last question, we are seeing a growing generation of organizers, shout out to any youth in the room, who are challenging traditional ideas about leadership, activism, and what movements can look like today. Panelists, what do you think the next generation of feminist leaders is teaching? And how can we create space for that leadership to grow?
Wow, now I don't have to follow Cortés. This is a good question. And I just had my answer, and then I tried to make a joke, and now the answer went away. I remember. The new generation is teaching us that hierarchy does not exist. It's fake. It's a way to stroke your ego. How we're gonna succeed is working together alongside each other and prioritizing, again, those voices that need to be heard. I really don't have much else to say besides that. I think that we fall often into these systems that's like director, manager. One, nonprofits are not gonna save us, but two, the leadership isn't on the ground talking to my neighbor. Leadership is not on the ground hearing what folks need, if they need condoms, if they need pads, if they need XYZ thing. Leadership is just making the top decisions, and they don't really know the impacts that are happening for folks who are on the ground. And that's across the movement. We are seeing more nonprofits build on a structure for their organizations that are all at the same level, and they're succeeding. They're getting more work done because you are trusting the folks that you are bringing to the table. You're valuing their ideas, you're valuing their thoughts, their decisions, you're talking through issues that are arising. And we really just need to quit it with the more experience means that you have more decision-making power, because sometimes you really need to lean on folks who have not had the same experiences as you to make a well-formed decision.
I love it. We're gonna have to listen to the young folk, y'all. Period. Stop. I'm a mother of 3 under 3, okay? Can y'all pray for me? Everybody stretch your hand. And ask me why and how. We'll talk about after. And I find myself with a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a 6-month-old shutting my mouth and just looking at them. Because they're teaching me something. They're teaching me how to continue to enjoy life, to have joy, to enjoy. They're teaching me that I need to get another tea so I can keep up with them. They're teaching me that life is so free and so liberating. They're teaching me that the box that I'm in is the box that I let somebody put me in, and I stayed in it, because my babies are so free. And so if we're not willing to let these young folk be who they are, how they are, and accept and love unconditionally, we're gonna be looking 20, 30 years down the line with the same problems, a different generation dealing with it. Let these babies be free. The second challenge is share your stories. Stop acting like we got it all together. Stop acting like we ain't never told nobody to pay a bill when they came over to the house after dark. Stop. Because we've all been through something. And if we're not willing to share that, these young folk think something wrong with us. Because they're saying to themselves, there's no way I'm going through all of this, and auntie didn't, and mama didn't, and grandma didn't, and cousin didn't. Because we're sitting in this space of, well, I can't share, that's embarrassing. Actually, please share, because it's life. And you can help someone else, and you can save a life. You can help these babies grow. This is what we have to do, and we have to do it yesterday. Because they're out here figuring stuff out on their own, and I think it's cute, because I watch mine, but it can be dangerous in the system in which we're in right now. So give them the guidance by sharing the truth. Be transparent. Now, plug. If you haven't dealt with it yet, I don't suggest you share it. What I suggest is that you do go get help to help you journey and navigate whatever that piece may be. Trauma is real. We've all been through it. Grief is real. We've all been through it. So if you've filtered and done the work you need to do, most definitely share, talk about it. If you haven't, I suggest that you go find a close friend, mental health therapist, counselor, someone to walk you through it, to free yourself so you can help free others.
Keep forgetting we have our own mic. Well, I don't know. This one right here is always showing me new things. You know, the young hoes, they got all kinds of new things going on. I think I love young people. I know I look young. You know that TikTok? I know I look young, but I'm not young. I think when I started in advocacy, there was very much a culture of you have to compromise in a lot of ways. And I think that, you know, being in a certain position, I still find myself having to do that in many ways. I have to code switch, I have to da-da-da, but I think like the young activists are constantly showing us ways to get around that. They're showing us that we don't have to compromise. They're showing us that, you know, we can boycott, we can mobilize in mass, and we can shut things down. And I think that that's really important because at this stage in 2026, with the way that we're being absolutely decimated from all angles. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I think everybody is really feeling the economic struggles right now. Like, I think everybody is being financially hit. I'm out there in the world and I'm watching people really close to each other turn on each other in ways I've never seen before because they're going through such tumultuous times. Do you know what I mean a little bit? Like, you know, like we don't know how to support each other. We don't know how to lean on each other. And I think like Gen Zers, Gen Alpha, whatever y'all are calling yourselves these days, I think you guys are showing us like how to stay connected to each other in ways I've not seen in past years. Because there is no handbook for the way that we're, quite frankly, being raped right now. We're all being raped right now, if I'm being quite honest. Like, in every which way possible. And the young folks are still finding hope. They're still finding ways to get together and have little dinner parties and also talk about policy at these parties and talk about legislation and get each other engaged and get each other registered to vote. And I think that those things are really important because we really get stuck in these spaces of we gotta work. I don't have time for your bullshit. I don't have time to check on you. I don't have time to support you. And I think that those things, checking on each other, staying connected, making sure that we're doing not just an event, but staying in community, right? And actually being like in touch with each other is just as important as getting the work done. Do you know what I mean? Right? Because what is all this for if not for each other? So yeah.
See, I have to follow you now. First of all, I have to say, every day I thank the goddess that there is a next generation of leaders coming, because I'm so tired of doing this shitty work, you know? So we need people like Caitlin and the people on this panel to be there, you know, and I want to work with them and work beside them. And something I wanted to bring too is that my wife and I are raising her 9-year-old niece, Serenity, and I showed a picture to May. They both have the same color bangs, so it's really cool. But I think, you know, Serenity does not have the same rights that I did when I was 9, and that makes me feel so sad and so mad that she's gonna have to fight now for the things that we fought for and thought we won, and we've lost. So, but in a way, she's also just watching her grow as she's gonna be in 4th grade next week. She starts 4th grade. The freedom she feels, you know, as a young woman who has very short hair and blonde bangs, but she wants to be a fisher. She wants to have a YouTube fishing channel. That's her goal. And I'm like, that is so cool that you're thinking about that. Social media, non-traditional field, you know, I may go to college, I may not. We're like, we can go to community college. But, you know, so for the younger generation, the ways that they are thinking and doing and feeling is different from when I was that age, but I embrace that and I want to hear more about that. And so I think we all need to think that as well. And then on the other hand, I don't want us to get caught up in Don Lemon's theory. Do you remember Don Lemon? He was the CNN broadcaster who made the comment when he was interviewing Nikki Haley that women over the age of 50 are past their prime. Which is actually gross. It's sexist and ageist in all the wrong ways. And so we need to realize that women over the age of 50 have as much to give as women under the age of 50. And we all need to listen to each other. And over 70. Well, yes, too, over 70. Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh, no, I was just getting ready for questions.
Oh, okay. But so for the next generation, welcome aboard. I'm sticking my hand out to you. Come on, let's work together. I want to work together. Thank you.
So now I'll turn it to the audience.